I think.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. It's
so.
Thursday morning. I hope everyone had an awesome week. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what we've been talking about the past 2 weeks. We're going to reframe everything for you, give you a little bit of a quick outline so that you can refresh your mind and kind of start to imprint this on you so you know exactly what to do and it becomes second nature. And then we're going to show you how to, we're working on, we talked about last time, working on how to get that next appointment, how to keep the conversation going. So John, do you want to start with?
Yeah, sure. Happy Thursday, guys. Happy that everybody was able to jump on today and learn with us today. So we're just going to do a quick recap because I know a lot of people have been jumped on the last couple of weeks. So we'll talk about the initial script that we came up with. And then I know that Shelley and Craig are going to go ahead and put this in a doc. You said, right, Shelley, and get it posted up there.
I've already got it.
Everybody else at. So I'm going to run through that real quick. And again, like this is going to happen if I had a realtor that was looking at one of my properties, or I'm just talking to a realtor. So it's just a simple script that says to them like, hey, Joe, listen, I know that you're with XYZ Realty, and if you thought you could be part of an organization and a firm that gave you a better value proposition for your business that could help you get more deals, ownership, stock options, and a retirement plan and a low-cost health insurance, would you be willing to take a look at it? And it's just an honest question, right? We're trying to get all the great things that we have as a company because we don't know what's important to them. So hopefully one of those items will stick in their brain and they'll say, yeah, great. Yeah, maybe I'd be willing to take a look at it. So at that point, the next question would be to them is this leveraging your business partner, whoever you're going to do the three-way Zoom with we talked about? It said, like, great, I'd love to introduce you to my partner blank, whoever that blank is. In my case, it's Shelley and Craig a lot of times. Blanket is amazing and very business like-minded like us. So you're doing that connection like us, a true entrepreneur, and I really believe you guys will get along great. So at that point, you're creating that curiosity in that particular agent that they should be getting on and talking to that third person because that third person is so great. So then after that, you would say to them, are you free to jump on a Zoom call within the next 3 days? 3 days is super important because you have their attention right now, so you don't want to kick the can so far down the road with them. When they commit and say, yes, I'd be willing to get on whatever day that is, say, great. Say, I'm going to go ahead and get that scheduled. In the meantime, prior to us getting on the Zoom, I'd like to share a quick 9-minute video that scratches the surface on the EXP model. We will dig in deeper on the model and how it will help you grow a better business and all the amazing things we're doing with our other business partners across the world. We put US, but now we're across the world in our organization. So it's separating us right away because what we want to do is we want to leverage our organization because we have such amazing talent and such, I always tell everybody, I have the best business partners in the world. So you want to leverage that. And then that creates a lot more curiosity of what that Zoom call expectation is. The negative words that we talked about we don't want to use is sponsor, because we hear that a lot. And I don't look at anybody as sponsors for me. They're my business partners. We work together hand in hand. So also upline and downline, like don't say like this person's in my upline or Shelley's in my upline or Craig's in my upline or so-and-so's in my downline. It's like we're all part of the same organization. We're all linked arms together. Recruitment, you'll hear this a lot, like I'm not into recruiting. And so either I'm looking for business partners and you're looking for agent attraction. You want to change their lives like this company's changed our lives. And then with regards to this, don't say like you're going to get stock with the company. We used to do this a lot and this is confusing for a lot of people that don't understand stock. So just say ownership and company, and then you can explain that later what that means.
Right.
So these are just a simple script. Shelley and Craig are going to put it in a Word doc that you guys can go ahead and use. Yep. And at least that will start your conversations going easily for you.
We'll be putting this as a document that you can like adjust and make it your own. So that way we created a Google Doc. We'll put it in the comments below after the meeting this morning. I'll make sure that gets in there. John, one real quick question for you. How do you overcome when they say, I've already heard about EXP.
I'm happy where I am.
I'm happy where I am. I've already heard about it. How do you handle those objections, or they're not really even objections, they're just statements actually.
Yeah. So in my mind, when they say I've already heard about EXP or I already know about EXP, they really don't. Like, to be honest, like they've heard what their brokerage have told them or other agents, but they really don't. And I could say, no, I understand that. So what did you know about the company? I might kick it back and just say, what do you know? And they say, well, I know we ask this question a lot. It's about, they're about recruiting agents, whatever. Say, listen, I thought this, I'll be honest with them. I'll say, I thought the same thing before really taking a look at the model. And I can only vouch for myself. It's changed my business and my family's lives. I believe that you're an open person like me, like I was. So let's jump on a Zoom call and just break down the model a little bit. And if worst case scenario, we just become friends, there's no pressure, but I would love to share with you all the great things that we're doing, not just inside EXP, but we're doing with our partners. Like, we're supporting each other across the world to grow a better business. Wouldn't you I think you would probably want to see that, right? And then, yeah, they'll say, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'll jump on. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Because nobody doesn't want to be open-minded, right? And if the person says, no, I'm not open-minded, that's probably not a person I want to partner with.
It's funny, that was like the key word. You said, I know you're open-minded. Well, then if they go against that, they're gonna be like, well, I look kind of silly because I'm not open-minded.
No, I'm not.
Right, Craig?
Nobody doesn't want to be accused of, you don't want to insult them, but you want to leave that out there. Because I know,
right?
Like, think about how many Zooms that we've been through, all of us, and they think they know the model, but like when we're halfway through the Zoom, they're like, their eyes are like this. They're like, I never knew this. I never knew. And I'm like, yes, because you know why? The franchise owner doesn't want you to know this. They don't want you to know it. They're protecting their asset. But I'm hoping like you see the excitement now, because now their brain is spinning. So it's very.
I think that's a very important point to understand when you're talking to other agents is, their franchise owner, their team lead, all these people they're protecting their business. And that's, we get that. We're all in business. No one wants their best agent to leave or a team member. So they're constantly being told a certain thing so that they believe it. And we've all, been in that point, at a past company. It's like, they talk about things and you think, all right, that's what it is. That's what they said it is. And I don't blame them. They're protecting their business.
And they're happy. They like the people around them. It's not like they don't like. We're realtors. We're really friendly. We all love this to, hang out and everything. So, I think they're happy and they're like, oh, this is comfortable, and we represent change, and anything that is change means you have to get a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah. So, it's natural. Like, they want to lean more toward, potentially lean more toward, okay, I'm good where I am. And then when you can get them to like be open-minded, I think that just shifts their whole thought process of like, well, maybe I should listen to what John has to say or Craig has to say. So I think you can actually like feel, it's interesting, the conversation, you can feel the rhythm of a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting to feel that rhythm. And you can almost hear if you listen to their inflection in their voice, you can kind of tell where they are mentally with your conversation.
Yeah.
And Shelley, share a little bit, sorry, John, share a little bit about what your initial thoughts were when I was like, I happened to look at the presentation and you hadn't seen it yet. And you don't know what you don't know. So you're like, well, what could it possibly be? Like, what was your thought on that?
I was like, Craig, you're really being annoying. I was just kidding. I was thinking, I remember, because we were like, it was May. We were so busy. We had so many transactions and so many listings, and I just didn't think I could take on one more thing. And when Craig put it in front of me, we were so committed to opening a boutique in like about 6 months to a year. It was like we had a path, and I didn't want to be diverted from my path, or like our path together. And he literally was like, Shelley, listen to this. I think it was like 5 or 6 days consecutively. I don't even know how he put up with me, honestly. He was kindly looking at me like, you need to look at this. Yeah. And I was like, okay, Craig, I'll do it tonight. I promise. I come in the next week. Did you look at that? I'm like, no.
But to her point, like, as a realtor, we're very experienced. We've been in the business for over 10 years at that point. And it's like, and in her mind, she's like, it's splits, tools, and education. That's all real estate is. Every franchise model is a combination of splits, tools, and education. They offer you more of one thing or another for the most part. And she's like, well, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not looking at it.
It was funny because for Craig, I mean, he was at a point with like, he's like, Shelley, it's what you're talking about. I remember like us having like that kind of like talk. Like we were like, I'm like, okay, Craig, I'll look at it tonight.
I literally took her by the shoulders and pushed her into a room and sat her in front of a laptop.
And I was like, I do remember that. And I remember it was kind of funny because I was like, okay. And I sat there and I was like, all right, let's get this over with.
But my point is, that is what the common agent is, you know, that's how they see it. They don't know what they don't know. And I didn't know. I just happened to watch it before she did. That's all.
So think about this way for a quick second. When you guys transitioned over, there was no really a story to tell about EXP because nobody's heard of it. But now it's so much easier. So when we're talking to these agents and they say, well, I love my broker in charge, or I love the people that I work with. And because we hear that a lot, right? So what I end up usually saying to them is like, listen, I still have phenomenal friends with other brokerages that, you know, just because you leave a brokerage doesn't mean you break that friendship. A true friend will support you with whatever you think is better for your life and your business, right? But I also go back and I say to them, like, listen, take a look at all the talent, and you've seen this yourself, of all the phenomenal teams across the US that have transitioned over to EXP. And I'll start rattling off some team names that, you know, or we'll talk about, you know, Jay Kinder, #1 Coldwell Banker agent, or, you know, certain people that we're connected to that are running their businesses here now. And I'll say to them, like, listen, these aren't stupid people, right? Like, they're running successful businesses. So obviously there's something there that they're looking at that they've seen where they can leverage to run a better business. So take a look at it, because you might see something too that you thought that wasn't there. And so it's worth it to jump on that Zoom and take a look at it. This way, you know. And if you don't like it, we're still friends. There's no pressure, right?
It allows you to have an intelligent conversation when someone brings it up. So even if it's not for them, they can have an intelligent conversation and say, I know all about it. I know what it is. This is what it is. It's not for me. But that usually doesn't happen once they see what it is.
It nags at them, you know, that they like see it, and they like those, it's something, it's like a tipping point where things kind of go out of balance somewhere else. Like you have to imagine, like we were running our business and we were just getting out of a recession, for goodness sake. And we're finally like grabbing we're really good in traction, and everyone's doing lots of business. And it's a tipping point. It's like, what is that tipping point that's going to make that person just go this way? And it may take time for that to happen. It may be some pain point that happens, and they're like, you know what, or they're kicking themselves looking at our stock going, dang, and when am I going to actually look at this for real and really understand it? If the stock is doing this, why am I not looking at this? Like, there's going to be some tipping point that makes them sway. Even if like you get in that conversation, say we have that Zoom call, just to refresh on what the Zoom call looks like. Imagine like Craig and I, let's imagine Craig is going to lead the Zoom. He's like the person. You say, Craig, I want you to talk to John Padone. I'm the agent. And I called John Padone, and we had a conversation. I said, John, I adore Craig. He's one of the best in the business when it comes to real estate. He runs an incredible team, such a great leader, and someone that I think you could really partner with, and we could all learn together through our group. We created a great organization together. Would you get on a call with him? John's gonna agree, right?
Yeah. Well,
you're open-minded.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be like, yeah, I mean, maybe I should speak to Craig. But what we also say is like, I think you guys would get along so great, you know? And so it's like, maybe I would get along great with this person. Like, you know, I got to try to talk to them too. So it's just leveraging who's around us of trying to get that initial conversation. Then it's Craig's job to define the end. And I think what you need to understand too is, I think you do a good job of this, Shelley. And Craig is like, we have to it's not about us now when we're on the Zoom. It's all about them, right? And trying to understand their business. And if you get on that Zoom and you make it all about us, then it defeats the purpose of the Zoom, because our job is to be as good business partners as we can and say, what have you heard about EXP? Let them talk. what are some of your concerns in your business? And then we're making notes and we're trying to figure out, because we understand our model, where we could leverage that. Like Craig said last week, finding that path. What is that path that we need to find that they would look at that and say, I could see myself running this my team or my business here because of blank.
Right. And I think so, so that now we're through the conversation, we've uncovered some of their pain points, and they're starting to discover that it's different than what they thought. They watched the 9-minute video. We edified Craig for 15 seconds. I edified John for 45 seconds about who he is. Now it's time for me to go, or for Craig to start asking questions, like John was just saying, discovering who they are, family, their business. So we're asking family, business, what do they love to do? Why they moved to Charlotte? Just starting to uncover who they are, and were they in the business before? What was that like to transition? So you're starting to uncover them, and they'll start to tell you these pain points. And then we start to match up the pain points to what we have. This company has a solution for everyone's pain point, which is amazing. So we're just trying to, and you're writing down those critical things. And then say that we've, they started to kind of understand it. Now we're going to say, okay, say there a lot of people have an issue with, let's talk about the top things people struggle with. Transition, that change, how they don't understand how that's possibly going to work in a virtual world. So we show them, show me, you ever heard the show me, Kevin says this all the time, show me. So I literally, and John literally, and Craig literally goes in there and shows them how the world works. We pop in, pop out, show them how we're going to get the broker support really quickly. And we'll do we'll bring an agent in and we'll actually do this with somebody that's with us, obviously, but show how it works, what it looks like to you guys when we're on a Zoom. And then you're going to say, I've got tools. They want to see that you're going to what's their first, how are they going to join? What's that first 2 days going to look like? How am I going to do my transactions? They want to know that they are going to be able to run their business quickly and fastly right out the gate. No issues, just let's move forward. So you're going to show them how to do that. Some people, that's not going to be their big hang up. Their hang up could be the relationship at their old firm. Okay, well, let's do an LOI. There's different tools in the toolbox to use. So, maybe there's something going on with in their firm and they have to kind of ease themselves out. So there you can get them on an LOI. You can do different with letter of intent is what that is for those who don't know. And we can show you that's what we want to do is unpack the toolbox. Our toolbox are things to help that person with that transition, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, a lot of times transition is the hang up. And if we can show them how to do it, they get super comfortable and they just do it and then the transition, John, talk about the transition of, we aren't quite to the fact of where they're going to actually make the move. What are some of the questions we ask toward the end of our conversation to get that next appointment, to keep the conversation going?
Yeah. So on that first Zoom call that we're on, now this is the first, right? We'll ask a question, just an honest question on a scale 1 to 10, how much value did you see for your business and your family today? And if they come back and they say it's a 7 or an 8, then the next question was great. I mean, what makes that a 7 or 8 for you? Because we need to understand what it is. And maybe everybody's different. You hear maybe it's about, I love your technology. Maybe it's, I love the revenue share. Maybe it's, I love the collaboration. You just don't know until you ask. And so once they say what they like, then it's the next question could be, great. Well, listen, I know we hit you with the fire hose of a lot of things today. Why don't we do this? Why don't we schedule another Zoom call for you? We lock them in there. We look at our calendars together, and that could be, say this was a Friday, we schedule it for Monday for a follow-up Zoom call, because I know you're going to have some questions, and you want to lock them in for the second Zoom call because they're already piquing your interest there. So that's how we get them on a second Zoom call if we feel that it's necessary to push them over. Now, you might have a situation where you could come up there and ask them and say, in your mind, what needs to take place to expedite a comfortable and smooth transition? I would really love to partner with you and work together to grow a better business in 2021. What in your mind needs to take place for that to happen? So that's just an honest question for them, because you just don't want to leave them hanging. And we were having this issue before where we would have a Zoom. It was great. And we're what's the next step now?
Right.
Oh, great. Well, we showed you the model. we'll
Make a decision, people.
we'll keep in touch with you, and that wasn't working, right?
Oh.
So maybe Craig, you could jump in and just talk about that closure, like that secondary, how we do that.
Well, I've tried a couple times and it seems to work really well is, a lot of people, they have good intent. They're all excited on that call. You edify that third party person. Everybody's excited. 2 days go by. And then the day before they're like, hey, I can't make it. I'm gonna have to reschedule because maybe they spoke to someone and they conned them out of it, or they got cold feet, or they're nervous. But I think a good thing that I've done, like the second day, is to shoot them a text and be like, I'm so excited for you to meet Shelley. You guys are going to hit it off, and just edify her more and say, see you at 3 tomorrow, and
That's smart,
just lead them right into it, because they'll feel like, now I can't say I'm going to go back. It's less likely. And then another thing with, when John said, I like that you keep it positive in the initial interview or talk, not interview, but meeting, as far as like, on a scale of 1 to 10, they're a 7. What did you like? Because like is positive, and you're repeating the positives. But I would take note of that 7. And then when you get them on that next call with that person, to say, hey, John, I noticed when we talked last time, you said it was a 7. What would make it a 10? Because now you're in that third party, and that third party person could talk about the pain points, which is 8, 9, and 10.
Right.
Well, I don't like the transition. I've got 5 under contract at my, and then you go in and then you can kind of hit all those pain points. And like Shelley said, make that uncomfortable into comfortable.
Yeah. So I think the second Zoom call is locking them in, right? And you'll know, and you'll know right away if you put them in that spot and you ask that question, what has to take place to make it a comfortable, true, smooth transition, and possibly, like we talked about this, to come over within the next 10 days. Right. Because then they're like, whoa, then right away what you're dealing with. Like, whoa, wait a second, 10 days? No, I don't want 10 days. I need 21 days. But at least you know what's going on. So you were like, okay, 21 days. Okay, so let's figure this out together. And then you start building that relationship and keeping the touches with them and say, I'm working on things. Or if they're concerned about, we had one person ask about the stocks and how the company profits were. So you can get back to them and stay in touch with them and just keep that relationship going. But if you just leave it open up in the air, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Sorry, Craig.
Go ahead.
And picking that date, like that commitment date of when they're actually going to move, it solidifies it in their head that they have a plan. Then you say, okay, while we're in this process, let's work on, here's the logos for your signs. You got to help. There's lots of little things that they need a cap deferment. So like I got approval from the president for cap deferment. So you're constantly like working in the background on their plan. And then what Craig and John and I, all of us together, have created is a actual layout of what's going to happen. So they love to see something visual of what they're going to do for their transition. So that transition plan, you can be giving them that. They can sign the join links if they're data, because it make their commitment in the join link. So we're going to do, say it's March 1st or, February 28th, whatever it is. And say it's March 1st. You can say, okay, March 1st, I'm going to send you the join link. In the join link, you're going to need these items. And we're going to tell them what they are. And I'm going to send you a document that tells you what you need. And that document's going to have boom, 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 boom. And then they're going to do the join link. They do the join link. They got the March 1st commitment. Now you're moving together toward that day and helping them.
You need to do things where it subconsciously puts it inside their mind. They have hard dates.
Right.
Because if you don't, then there's no goal setting for them. So if you say like, listen, on a scale of 1 to 10, well, I'm an 8. It's already hardwired. They're an 8. So then you talk about another subject that's hardwired in their brain. So then when you say, okay, sign up in the next 10 days or whatever that date is, they're already, when they got off that Zoom call, they're like, okay, well, I said I was probably going to come over at this particular date. Now we got to work towards that. So if you don't do that, it's just leaving it up in the open.
Right. And a lot of times they come faster than you think. Sometimes you have someone that's like kind of committed, but they don't know when. That's when an LOI is a really good tool to use because it's kind of a soft commitment. they're coming at some point, and there probably really is legitimate reasons why, whether it's family, something's going on in their life, and this is a way to say, let's work together, start working together with this LOI. And then it still gives them a commitment time. But it gives them a little bit longer, like maybe it's 2 months to come in. But what I found is I had a girl last week, she signed her LOI on Wednesday, I think, and she moved on Friday, which was awesome. Her and her team. So they're with us now, but she thought she might need 30 days, but she was like, you know what? She was kind of like Craig and I, we can't sit around here for 30 days. Right, Jen? We got to make this move. And she's, and I will tell you, our teams and our brokers, and you can have such confidence in this company of the staff behind all of the transition for your people. It's wonderful to know we have the right support for everybody.
I mean, there's literally, I say it all the time, there is layers and layers of support. In our past experience, it's usually one person is assigned to that. You just got to keep going back to that person. That's the only way you're going to get it done. But here we're, layers of, organization, your, the person you're attached to, your business partners, all the staff, the people in the world. I mean, there's layers upon layers of support. So we get stuff done quick.
Yeah.
The letter of intent, what's really great about that too, is that if somebody signs a letter of intent and say that person that did the letter of intent had other people that they wanted to bring over to the firm, as their, I hate that word sponsor, but it is, then they could go ahead and do that. Like those people could come on right now, but that person can hold off and just wait till later and still capture all those people.
Right.
So sometimes that's everybody's situation is just different.
Yeah, especially as a team lead.
Yeah, you could do that and stuff. So yeah,
that's a great point, John, because like one gentleman that's signed an LOI, he has a real situation where he can't come right now, but he has people that want to talk to him about the company already, and he's actually working inside the company now, until it's the right time. So I mean, that's a great opportunity to transition those people over, because they really do want you to be their person, and it keeps them from having to lose out while they're making that transition.
So real quick, Shelley, kind of talk a little bit, just for a minute, because we're coming up on the top of the hour, about the LOIs. It basically holds your position, right? So that you can, talk about the company and other people can come to the company as your business partner within your organization, correct?
Correct. And you can go into, so if you guys want to know where that is, and that's part of the stuff things that John, Craig, and I self are working on, is if you go to agent attraction in the Explore, you go to your enterprise, go to Explore, there's a tile on there called Explore, type in agent, Explore Guide, thank you. Explore Guide, you type in there letter of intent, you put agent attraction in there, agent attraction, and then you slide down, there's actually a letter of intent. You don't even have to go right to the company, and that person can sign that LOI right then, and then they get approval from EXP. And there's actually an email in there as well, so you can check on your LOI. So you don't have to call anybody. You can just email and say, hey, I'm just checking on the status of this person's LOI, so that they know they're approved. Because what happens is they're concerned because they may not have heard back in the time that someone else is signing up under them, and they're like, hey, make sure I'm in there. So it's kind of cool.
I know we're finishing up real quick, but I thought I had a really cool scenario that came in yesterday. There was a husband and wife team that's going to be joining us, phenomenal group, but they came in yesterday, and the question to me was like, John, what I noticed about EXP is that it's like a cult. Like everybody's like crazy, and I just don't understand why. And I said, I know you guys don't understand why, but when you join in 6 months from now, you're going to probably be the same way, because people are excited for what's going on. I mean, the stock is going bonkers and everything else, so you feel like you're part of something.
Yeah.
When you have ownership of something and you're connected to all these great people, it's excitement, and everybody handles that excitement differently. So he's like, afterwards, he looked at me, he's like, I kind of get it now. I could see why they're so excited and happy, is because, you guys are all growing together for a common cause.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting, because I never had somebody's like say that, everybody thinks of us as like a cult or something.
Well, it's hard not to be excited when you're receiving stock and revenue share and you've got like the best commission structure and all health insurance and like your family's life is just better for being here. It's pretty easy to be excited.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I know who that
You
couple
said that,
was.
Shelley, so I would say that to everybody, like, share that. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want to share all the wonderful things that we're getting with this company? And you get so many people that say, well, I'm not into recruiting, but I'm not into recruiting either. But if I go to a good Italian restaurant and the food is amazing, I'm going to say, Shelley, Craig, go try it. So it's no different. Like, but this is even better, right?
Like Barrel and Fork. Everybody needs to go to Barrel and Fork. It's an experience. That's my favorite. That's awesome. One thing real quick, as we finish up here, Craig, would you mind sharing what you're going to be doing we had a huddle going on Fridays in the world. We want to make it easier for everybody. So we're going to do it live right here on Facebook in Impact Organization. And Craig, would you mind sharing about that? And also what we're doing with the two Facebooks, how we're going to be breaking them up.
Yeah. So for the people that are on here real quick, it's kind of, I guess, a little housekeeping. With the huddle was great as far as, but it was in the world, it was in the suite, and it was great. And some people were saying it's a little bit challenging if they're on the road or they're just to kind of get in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in Impact, just like we're doing this Facebook Live and Impact group. A week from next Thursday, we're going to start. I'll put out a little graphic to get everybody on course with that. And then as far as the different groups, so right now the Impact group is kind of developed into just a funnel of information because we have so many great people and there's so many great things going on with their business. What we're going to do is we're going to streamline this group, the Impact group, that as you know it, to be more of information like this, how to work your revenue share. We're going to talk about EXP, the company, in the huddle and what's going on and what you need to know, and questions about stock that people might have, or revenue share, or new things that are coming out, new tools within the company. So there's going to be a little more company EXP based and less general real estate based about your business. And we're going to create an Impact group, real estate collaboration group. And that'll be a separate group. And that's where you can ask, hey, I need an inspector. Does anybody know about this question, that question? I've got this new listing coming up. Well, all that real estate related information will go in that group. And this will be more of kind of EXP and growing as an organization within EXP in this group. So we're going to.
I heard about an exciting name change. Maybe we're going to call it something like Impact Worldwide or Global or something like that.
Yes, this we'll change this group to like Impact Group Worldwide, something along those lines. We, Shelley and John and myself and a lot of us are based here in the Charlotte area, but we have grown worldwide. We're in over 30 different states, I believe now, multiple provinces of Canada. We're in India, we're in, several other countries, the UK, and soon Australia. I think we're already in Australia. So there's a lot of people in this group that are from all over the world, and they don't really need to see our Charlotte listings.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll be making posts about that, and it's gonna be really good. I'm excited about it because right here is going to be how you're going to impact your business through EXP's opportunities, success. If you guys, one more thing, I listened to Clubhouse this morning with Success with Don Hobbs and Glenn Sanford and a number of other people. Oh my goodness! Like, you guys want to get to know Glenn Sanford? Jump on that in the mornings. He is one of the. I mean, I know we know he's smart, but he's just so well-rounded in everything he thinks and his vision for us as people. I mean, if everyone joins that who's not even with EXP, they're going to be shifted. I mean, their lives are going to actually change and be for the better. So we just want to really pour into everybody and be like the leader of replicate what Glenn's vision is for all of us. And we want to help support and encourage all of that here. So awesome.
Awesome. Guys, have a wonderful Thursday. Thank you for jumping on with us. We're all here together for all of us, but You guys have a wonderful day,
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
guys.